It's another episode of iPad 365, and today we talk about the most expensive apps on the iPad. Can you afford them?
This episode is brought to you by Go to My PC.
Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to iPad 365, the show where we review an app a day to keep your iPad in play. Or today, we review 10 apps today. Actually, it's going to be something like 17 apps that you can get if you're richer than spit, and go from there. So now we've received some great email and Twitter responses in the last couple weeks, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead, keep sending them to me over at iPad 365 on the Twitter or iPad365show@gmail.com. Like I said, I really do appreciate everybody that's emailed and asked me about the iPad. Little questions. I've had a couple questions. Hey, do you have a contact for that application? Hey, how can I get my application on there? How can I get my product on your show? So thank you very much to everybody that's been sending in emails. So we'll work on those. And we actually did get a couple applications that we're going to be reviewing in the future, as well as some products, which I'm really excited about. So first, I want to address a letter by the creator of Lyric Master 4000. It was an application we did a couple weeks ago. Tom Kovland is his name, and he wrote, I came across your video featuring my application. I wanted to say thanks and taking time to give it a good review. It's a niche app in a way, so seeing you cover it was really awesome. It was really interesting, too, that you came up with a new use for it, because I talked about how it could actually be something for maybe a speechwriter to get in, because they can actually talk and they can record their voices, and then they can read it back, and then they can write their speeches from there. One I never thought I'd actually be able to use before. Keep up the great work, Tom. So thank you very much, Tom, for that email. I really appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed the video, and of course we'll continue to work with getting more niche episodes out there, because in some cases it's not really a niche, it's just something that people never really thought that they could use their iPads for. And that's what I like about this show, and I'm learning a lot of apps are already out there that I didn't think were out there already. So check it out, and thanks a lot to Tom for that email. Now, another email comes from Ted. Anyway, Ted writes, hey, Jeff, great show. Amazing that you're doing this 7 days a week. Must be a tough one to do. Well, I can tell you, Ted, yeah, it's a very tough one to do. Yesterday's application was last minute, and I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning getting that done. What I really want to know, though, is what is the most expensive application out there? How much can an app go in a price? Well, that's a darn good question. Well, your wish is my 55th episode of this show. Well, today we're going to look at the 10 top apps that break the proverbial piggy bank, and so you can have it installed on your iPad. Now, a couple things here. First of all, this is an informational episode only. I have not installed or tested any of the programs. I don't have the money to do that type of stuff. If you have, and you would like to talk about them on the show, let me know. Of course, Twitter, iPad365, email, iPad365show@gmail.com. Another word is I took out any applications that were not in a language I could really understand, or understand what the application was about. If you remember, a couple years ago, there was an iPhone app that came out. It was called the $1,000 app, and all it was a Ruby. And of course, that application was taken down. So I can only assume that these applications that I saw were going to eventually be taken down by the App Store if they have no real meaning to it. But some of them were just in a different language, and they didn't translate well, or I didn't understand. So it was best to keep those out, just in case I was talking about it the wrong way. So with that said, we've got some great applications, and I don't think there's any applications above $1,000, and I don't think Apple will let you do applications above $1,000. So with that all said, let's talk about our apps in this episode. First, we're going to talk about an application called the Alchemist SMS. This is a scrap management system that provides the tool necessary to figure out raw material costs from steel and scrap metal. It makes PDF reports. It includes 20 material classes, an in-program editor for changing scrap metal, and support for the program. It's $999.99. We could say $1,000, right? No, we're going to say $999.99. 99 cents, because that's what it says in the App Store, and it is available now. Next up, we have Intuition Control Solo Wolf Vision. It's an app by Desinova Technologies, and basically it's a control pad for Wolf Vision visualizers. And you're going, well, what is that? Visualize a wolf or something like that? No, what it is a video conferencing application, one that you would get for a corporate, for education, for government, and healthcare. So if you had a conference room, chances are you might actually have one of these systems inside your conference room, among different other things. The app is also $999. Next up, we have the BarX Series, like BarX California or BarX CA, BarX New York, BarX NY. Each state's iPad app is a little bit different, and actually different in price. California and New York seem to be the most expensive applications, and basically what it is a law app. Harvard Law alumni helped put the app together, so it's a complete bar exam prep app for your iPad. So if you're planning to pass the bar or just need a little refresher, you should check that out. It's called the BarX Series, and of course you can find that over at their website. And of course for each state they'll have their own application, because laws are a little bit different in each state. Next up is an application called Agro, which is an agricultural app. An agronomist, I think I pronounced that right, can use this app to complete the inspection report. You can add client details, chemical requirements, other information like pests and damage that they've incurred over the years. The document can be private between the reviewer and the farmer, but it will show you where you're at on your farm. It tells you what type of chemicals you used, and maybe you need to back up off this chemical and figure out a new way to farm the land so you can have better crops and better food, I guess. So Moby Gauge Laser looked like a game at first, but it's actually a metrology app that's basically to inspect manufactured parts. It makes sure that the high-end production equipment doesn't break down. Now, the app works with the Leica AT401 laser tracker, which could be on a shark, right? Anyway, it basically will use that to create reports, let you know what's off kilter. Now, I had a friend who actually went in on a bi-monthly basis to different companies, and he used programs like this to make sure that all the screws were level and all the little pieces were accurate. So this is actually a very useful app for some of you that are in this type of profession. It's great for designers too, because they can find out via first inspection if there's anything wrong. Now, if you're a hardcore athlete or a coach, this one might be for you. It's called Performa Sports. And by the way, all these apps that we're talking about, I'll let you know if we change the price. But right now, $999.99. Performa Sports, coaches, players can analyze their performance so they can improve in their next round, whether it be football or running or whatever. You can also set up and manage your players and get team results. So once you're done with a game, you can put all that data into the application, and then you can come back a day later and say, this is where we excelled, this is where we didn't excel. It gives you a full spreadsheet you can break down. You can export it to a CSV to an Excel type document, or maybe a SQL environment, so you can really get a good idea of how you're performing. Now, right now they have it for football, for rugby, for hurling, and a couple other sports. They're adding sports as they go, so if you really need this application, let them know, and they might be able to expedite that for you. At $1,000, they should be able to, right? Next, we have a program called Engine Connect. Now, this is an app that controls VIZRT content, VIZRT content, which is basically video journalism in the studio. The iPad becomes a remote control, basically, so you can flip through the content on your VIZRT infrastructure, VIZRT infrastructure. Next up, the electronic fire alarm system. Of course, you know, if you've worked in a business that had fire alarm systems, you've always had the fire chief come in and test out all the equipment. This is a fire alarm inspection application that keeps your data on the iPad rather than a clipboard. You can then send all the data out via PDF or SQL for further analysis. So this is perfect for a fire chief or a business owner that really wants to keep tabs on what they've done, what has worked and what hasn't worked. iLifestyles is used by eye care professionals to help in educating cataract patients. Now, explains the vision impairment through video and other visuals. Now, this is the first app that's past the $999 stage. It's actually $599.99. So anybody that's in eye care, and we're going to see a lot of eye care and health applications up in the $400 to $500 range. So I'm going to skip through a lot of them. We'll just highlight one or two as we go. Finally, we have Spray, which is another agricultural app that gives you a spray log and details. You can then figure out what chemical patterns have gone in years past, so you don't, of course, once again, poison your dirt. And that application is $499.99. And that's the top 10 apps for you. When we come back, we're gonna show you really quickly some other applications that are kind of cool, including a hip hop one and a lot more. You know, one application that won't break that bank, that might even help you a lot with getting your life in order on computer side, is an app called Go to My PC. It's a really simple program. You don't have to take your desktop with you. You just take your tablet with you, take your iPhone with you. You can even take an Android device with you, and you can use it to remote into your desktop, your laptop, which you keep at home. So no more taking a big bulky machine with you. No more having to go through airport security and pull out 7 bins. You can pull out only a couple now, where you can put your shoes and your coat and your pants and your belt and your shirt and basically all your clothes into there. But you won't have to take the computer out. You just take out your iPad, set it down, go through, and then you can get out a TSA agent. The best part, the one I liked, is the fact I didn't have to buy another 4G card, which is now like pretty expensive nowadays. So I can save money by using my internet connection at home. It's great. You can remote up. If you're on the mobile, you get a little virtual mouse, which you can move around. I could go on for hours on this, but you give it a try. 30-day free trial. It's a free trial. It's absolutely free. Go over to Go to My PC, click the Try It Free Now button, enter in the code PODCAST. PODCAST gets you 30 days of that great software, and of course, it helps iPad 365 keep our lights on. So go over to Go to My PC, put this into your business toolbox, and see the power of remoting in via Go to My PC. All right, I know I went through a lot of applications there. There are many more, and like I said, I skipped over some because there were some, health-related applications. So a lot of dentistry applications out there, and a lot of vision eye care applications out there. So we're going to highlight some really quickly. We're going to get you some more applications that might be a little bit more towards what you do, more of your niche, and they're not as expensive. First of all, Architile Inception, I believe I pronounced that right, is an application for architects to put together project information on a build. And it comes in, it's a great little spreadsheet and gives you all the information. You can put it together. $499. Meeting Bar is a $399.99 app that'll hold pro meetings on your iPad or your iPhone. Sunroom Designer helps you create sunrooms, and of course that's $399.99. We have TuneLab for those professional piano tuners. That's an application for $299.99. GIS is a geology application that helps you plot land and merge GPS data, and that's $299.99. Speak for Yourself is one of those many applications, and they have similar applications out there geared toward people with speaking disabilities and sometimes functionality disabilities. I had a friend when I was a kid that was in a wheelchair, couldn't talk, and he had limited movement, but he had this board in front of him, and there were a whole bunch of little pictures on the board, and he would point to each picture to tell people what he was talking about. That's what this is about. It's a page that gives you images that the person would point to. In this case, it would highlight the items that it want to say. You can actually change it out really quickly. So if he doesn't say, I don't know, cat, if there's no reason to have cat there, you can take it out and put dog in its place. So it's a great way. It's very customizable, and of course, it'll end up speaking what he wants to say, which is really great. This app, of course, is also $299.99. Now, for all you hip hop enthusiasts out there. Yo boy, here we go. It's called Hip Hop Instruction Premium levels 1 through 5. And it does just that. It teaches you the moves so you can hip hop dance better. Like this, I think this was a move, and this was a move, and this was, I don't know, maybe this was a move, something like that. Anyway, that's a $249.99 app, excuse me. And of course, they have different variations. I think they have one which is just levels 1 through 3, and this has all 5 levels of hip hop instruction. So if you're learning to dance or need some refresher, check it out over in the App Store. Quiz Center might be the only game in the App Store over $100. It contains over 80 movie and pop culture quizzes, and it's only $199.99. Luminar is a DMX lighting application. Now, this is for lighting pros so they can set up their advanced light shows for their stage. $129.99. And then finally, we're going to do this. This is not an iPad app. This is an iPhone app, which doesn't make much sense because we'll talk about it in a second. What was interesting, we gave it a shout out because it was so interesting. It's called iVIP Black. It's $1,000, $999.99, of course. And it's the first premium lifestyle app, or what they're calling the Millionaires app. Now, this $99.99 is a yearly fee, not purchase the app and you've got it for life. It's $1,000 a year. But what it does do is it gives you tips on how to dine properly, etiquette, style. It gets you discounts in hotels and where to rent yachts out and where to ski, where to travel, where to be a VIP. Like I said, it's on $999.99 a year, not for the app alone. You get the app in there, but it's a recurring membership from what I understand. But what really bothers me is there's absolutely no iPad version. I would figure that, $5,000 and you get a gold iPad with diamond encrustment or something like that on there, and you could be going in style with your iPad. But I guess not. You just have the iPhone, so iVIP, time to get on that boat, right? And that's today's show. What applications do you use the most? Do you use any of those $1,000 applications? Let me know by twittering me over at iPad365 or email me at ipad365show@gmail.com. Tomorrow is Saturday. It is Wild Card, and we've got a great application, a fun little game for you to play with the kids. And then, of course, on Sunday, I think I'm just going to go and collapse somewhere, but we do have another application before I do that. So you can check it out. We will see you in 24 when it will be another iPad 365. Jeffrey Powers, you guys geek out with your iPad, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
You should follow Graphite on Twitter at GraphiteINC.